Welcome students for class 10th English class. How are you all? Shall we continue the poem Lochinvar written by Sir Walter Scott? Before starting, we will recollect the summary of the first four stanzas. Lochinvar rode from west all alone, unarmed except the broadsword, and he was a brave young knight. He was faithful in love and dauntless in war. He was not delayed with any thickets or bushes, nor he had stopped in any place, nor for any difficulties. He swam across the Esk River, but before he could reach the Netherby Hall, Bride had consented for marriage with another person who was timid and covered in war and totally opposite to that of Lochinvar. Lochinvar bravely enters the Netherby Hall, where too many people had gathered. Groom never uttered a word. So Ellen's father interrupts and having a sword asks Lochinvar whether he had come in peace or war or to dance at the bridal party. For which he replies and compares his love to the waves of Solway and says, as his suit was denied, his love towards Ellen has ebbed and now he has been to Netherby Hall to have a cup of wine and dance at the bridal party. There were beautiful maidens in Scotland who would gladly marry the brave Lochinvar. Moving on to the fifth paragraph. The bride kissed the goblet, the knight took it up, he quaffed off the wine, and he threw down the cup. She looked down to blush, and she looked up to sigh, with a smile on her lips and a tear in her eye. He took her soft hand ere her mother could bar. Now tread we a measure, said young Lochinvar. New words which we come across in this paragraph are goblet, which means wine glass, quaffed off, drank quickly, sigh, emit a long, deep, audible breath expressing sadness or relief, tread, walk in a specified way. Moving on to the explanation, Ellen kissed the wine glass which was taken by the knight, that is, Lochinvar, and he drank quickly and threw down the cup. She was so happy that Lochinvar still loved her so much that she blushed. Blushed means turned reddish or pinkish in happiness. She had a smile on her face that her love was in front of her, but tear in her eye as she had to marry a covered person. Before her mother could resist, Lochinvar took her soft hand and called upon to dance. In this paragraph, we can find a figure of speech, that is, the fourth line, with a smile on her lips and a tear in her eye, that is, paradox, which means a statement that contradicts itself. Here, we can find a smile that is a happiness and at the same time a tear in her eye, that is a sadness. Moving on to the sixth paragraph. So stately his form and so lovely her face that never a hall such a gallows did grace. While her mother did freet and her father did fume, and the bridegroom stood dangling his bonnet and plume. And the bride maidens whispered, they're better by far to have matched our fair cousin with a young Lochinvar. Difficult words which we come across are stately, which means appearance, gallard, spirited dance for two with the complicated steps. Third one, freet, which means anxious. Fourth one, fume, which means angry. Fifth one, dangling, which means hanging or swinging loosely. Sixth one, bonnet, hat. Last one, plume, a long soft feather. Appearance of Lochinvar and Ellen was looking graceful. For the first time, the people had seen the couple looking so grateful and performing the dance with the complicated steps. Mother was anxious, father was angry, but the bridegroom stood quietly swinging his hat, which had a long soft feather, and watching the dance. He was not at all opposing. Bride's cousins whispered among themselves that Lochinvar would be a proper match for their cousin Ellen. In the sixth stanza, we can also find one figure of speech. That is, while her mother did fret and her father did fume. That is, alliteration, which means use of the same consonant at the beginning of each stressed syllable in a line of verse. That is, F, fret, father, fume. We will continue the next part of the poem in the next class, children. Assignment of the day. First one. How did Ellen express her love towards Lochinvar? Second one. What was the impression of the bride maidens about the pair Lochinvar and Ellen? Thank you. Have a nice day, children.